Hello everybody, it's Jack and Jack back again. As you might have seen at the end of the previous news video, we got hastily moved away from Wembley. You can see the famous arches there, you can see just how far we've very cowardly ran away.
Yeah, I think this is a legally permittable distance from the famous arches of Wembley. We may get arrested, who knows?
You're never too far from the spirit of English football, but never too close either, legally. Yes, now we're going to talk about some wrestling news. Jack Atkins, you'll be heartbroken by this one, unfortunately, my friend. Nigel McGuinness has recently said that he would have come out of retirement for a match at All In against the now injured Bryan Danielson.
Yeah, I think we were kind of expecting it. I'm sure Danielson made allusions to McGuinness in one of the press conferences earlier this year.
Yeah.
And every time Nigel was asked, he was kind of like, oh, I'm retired, but who knows? I'm in good shape.
And now he's said the truth of the matter is the only way I was going to come out of retirement was for a match with Bryan Danielson at Wembley Stadium. It was going to take something like that for me to come out of retirement because I really value my job doing announcing, and there are so many other guys on the card that are so much better than me and deserve those spots. But in the right situation, I'd be crazy to not be open to that possibility. First of all, no, there's not that many better than you, Nigel.
No.
You're very good. Really good.
Yeah.
Especially against Bryan.
It's one of those, though, if he's coming out of retirement for this match and knowing how hard him and Danielson would have gone, it may have been an uncomfortable viewing at times, just watching these two men elbow each other in the face. Yeah.
He might have been worried about ring rust as well.
Yeah.
You know, obviously he's been out of action for quite a while. Also, he did kind of, at the end of that quote there, sort of leave open the possibility. He was speaking in kind of the present tense, saying, I would still be open to this sort of thing, but I guess it would have to be something similar to the scale of All In and against someone with the relevance to his career of Bryan Danielson.
Yeah, well, we've seen already with All In before a match has even taken place that it sold a lot of tickets. So if they do All In 3, technically, back in London or whatever, who's to say?
For those, by the way, just a bit of background, but Danielson and McGuinness had an unbelievable feud back in Ring of Honor. One of the most infamous matches in Ring of Honor history happened in Liverpool. In Liverpool, where they did that ring post spot.
Yeah,
where
it was the pure title versus the Ring of Honor World title.
Right, I just nearly knocked over the camera there when I demonstrated the move. Sorry, guys. Shout out to Luke and Pierce behind the camera there for saving the day. Elsewhere in WWE, Santos Escobar has admitted, he told 10 Count, that piggybacking off the success of Backlash in Puerto Rico, he said, I've been lobbying to get a PLE, a premium live event show, in Mexico City. He said, why not WrestleMania? The Aztec Stadium, 100,000 people in attendance, and of course, I guarantee, if that happens, Santos Escobar is coming out on top. Keeps it kayfabe.
Yeah.
Wow.
That would be amazing.
Yeah.
Because obviously Mexico is one of the meccas of wrestling.
Yeah.
But one of my criticisms of WWE for years is obviously the first W used to stand for world, and most of the shows were in North America. So I like the fact that in the last couple of years they've been going to different places, going to London, getting a massive reception, going to Puerto Rico, getting a massive reception. Why not Mexico?
I think it's been one of the true highlights of Triple H's time as kind of the I guess he's technically the head of creative. Sometimes Vince sneaks his way back in, as we know, but since Triple H has kind of mainly taken over, it has been one of the best things about his reign.
Yeah, and it feels fresh as well, because obviously different types of crowds, different reactions, different people getting cheered and booed.
Yep.
I'm all for it. Mexico WrestleMania, why not?
I think so as well, but also England WrestleMania too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, of course. I didn't mean to do a Scouse thing there. So yeah, of course. Tony Khan has recently been speaking to the Hollywood Reporter, and he mentioned that Bryan Danielson hasn't been around as much recently because he's recovering from an injury, but this is the crucial quote: if I got hit by a bus or I was ever incapacitated for some reason, the person I told my father that he should turn to is Bryan Danielson. That's who you would trust with the running of AEW if he was incapacitated.
Just AEW or like Fulham as well and the
Jaguars, yeah. I assume just AEW, but Bryan would probably just focus more on Ring of Honor, wouldn't he? Loves it.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
I think he's been working backstage, hasn't he, over the last few months? I know he's been doing bits of booking. I'm not sure if just for his matches or across the board, but I think he's got Tony's ear in that matter. But yeah, why not? The wrestler mind of Bryan Danielson.
I was going to say, I would have guessed that Tony Khan would have said, because it seems as though CM Punk has some degree of influence over the goings on at Collision, as we've heard. But maybe Tony's saying that if it was the overall operation, Bryan's who we would trust as a wrestling mind.
Yeah, because Bryan Danielson loves wrestling. I don't know if you've ever noticed this, but Bryan Danielson loves wrestling.
Yes.
Yeah, so.
I interviewed him once on the phone, and he said something. I said, what to you is like the perfect wrestler? Or he said something about like, he would only be satisfied if once he has the perfect. He was like, I used to have this idea of the perfect wrestling match, and it's this thing he's forever chasing, but he knows he can never get it. And I was like, how poetic, and also how sad. He doesn't know how good he's had quite a few very perfect matches, in my opinion.
He's a bit like Patrick Swayze in Point Break, looking for that perfect wave.
That was on in our hotel room last night when we watched Point Break. I'd never seen it before. It was a whirlwind of emotion.
Amazing.
I couldn't believe what I was seeing at times.
Bit like a Bryan Danielson match.
Yes. Yeah. Shout out to Patrick Swayze and also, of course, Johnny Utah. My God, what wrestling stuff. Oh, Tony Khan also told The Hollywood Reporter that he has received $1 billion offers for AEW when he was talking about kind of the profitability of the company and that sort of stuff. He said, yeah, I've received those sort of offers, but he has no interest in selling or anything like that.
No, it's clear that this is his passion project. I don't know if I'd call it his life's work, but he loves it.
Yes, he does.
Absolutely loves it. I've gone very scouts there, but he loves it.
He loves it.
I don't know what it'd be like, like we've seen with WWE getting sold, but Vince McMahon's still very much in the mix, in the pot. If AEW did get sold, if Tony Khan were to stay overseeing everything, these are all hypotheticals, of course.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. But I think you're right in definitely pointing out that it's not just a business venture for Tony. It feels like that's very much secondary to the primary thing, which is that it's a passion project for him, and he's heavily involved in the day-to-day and all that sort of stuff. This is an interesting one. Next up, we're going to talk about Mickie James. She recently was interviewed by WWE writer Brian Gewirtz, or former WWE writer Brian Gewirtz, and she was talking about her iconic feud with Trish Stratus, and said, I initially pitched it for Lita. It wasn't initially meant to be a feud with Trish Stratus. She said, I had history with Lita or whatever. I remember everyone worked on it. Brian Gewirtz, worked on it as well. And she talked about how it then became Trish Stratus kind of shoehorned in instead of Lita. And that, turned out to be for the best, because it led to maybe the best women's wrestling feud in WWE until that point.
Oh, definitely. And it's a feud that still holds up today. All the memes and, other bits aside.
Yeah.
Their match at WrestleMania 21?
22? 21? Luke, 21, 22?
22.
Yeah.
Fantastic match. I think it still holds up really well. Obviously, the chemistry those two had, they kind of defined each other.
Yes.
Would it have had the same impact if it was Lita versus Mickie? Who's to say? But
yeah, we never know.
Yeah.
But it also really helped launch Mickie, who's now gone on to have an all-timer, a legendary career as well. And finally, as well, Matt Hardy, speaking on his own podcast, has been a bit of a cheeky boy, Jack Atkins.
Oh, has he?
Yeah, a little bit. He's insinuated. So you might remember that match that Jeff Jarrett had with Jeff Hardy recently on AEW TV, which was the Texas Chainsaw
Massacre Death Match?
Texas Chainsaw Massacre Death Match, which was full of shenanigans and even featured an appearance by the iconic horror movie villain Leatherface. Now, Matt Hardy has said this, when I find it in just a second. Oh, God. Tony Khan was really into the idea of doing this match. He was really excited about the sponsorship and that they were going to be donating that portion of the money to the Maui charity, which is a great cause, obviously. Fair enough so far in what Matt Hardy's saying. But Tony was so into this match, he actually dressed up as Leatherface. He had to play Leatherface and he ran out with a chainsaw. How committed to the gig, right? He gave us Leatherface, guys. Sorry to spoil that, but Tony Khan was Leatherface running out swinging the chainsaw. Now, this is contrary to prior reports that the Leatherface was actually indie wrestler Dean Alexander, who was a regular on Dark Elevation, which is the true story.
Yeah.
But Matt's having a laugh.
It would be fun. I could totally imagine Tony Khan doing it. Just throwing like, he's like, give me that mask here.
He was quite manic, wasn't he, when he was running around? Yeah, I can see it happening. Yeah.
What's more far-fetched than a billionaire cannibal? Oh, I'm not even going to go there. Allegedly. I don't know.
Not Tony Khan specifically, billionaires in general.
Yeah.
We've been the Jacks from Cultaholic. We were chased away from Wembley Stadium, the immediate vicinity, but we've still done a news video here. Where will we be tomorrow? Who knows?
I know.
Barnet. We'll move further away each time.
Yeah, we might end up just back in Liverpool.
Newcastle. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you very soon.